Let's talk about intruder prevention and detection systems. Now, an intruder detection system usually watches the network or systems for any sort of suspicious activity. It's generally more reactive or passive. It might scan systems for vulnerabilities, or maybe it sees some suspicious activity about somebody repeatedly missing passwords or incorrect passwords, and then it can alarm somebody. Now, in contrast, an intruder prevention system is a little bit more active. Generally, they dynamically analyze traffic as it's flowing through the network, and it tries to identify certain signatures in that traffic that may indicate suspicious activity. And oftentimes, intruder prevention systems have dynamic capability, and they can action on that threat, such as blacklisting an IP address. These systems are sometimes comprised of additional agents that get installed on systems that maybe allow them deeper access into the monitoring of that system. One of the really important parts of an intruder prevention and detection system is a log collection mechanism. It can be CloudWatch, you can spool them out to S3, or maybe integrate a third-party application like Splunk. And sometimes these are called Security Information and Event Management Systems, or a SIEM. Now, if we look at an example here of an architecture that includes an IDS and an IPS appliance, it would generally sit in your subnet somewhere, and then it would monitor the various parts and pieces of your infrastructure, generally, as I said, through an agent that gets installed locally. And when it identified something that needs to be corrected or handled, it could trigger an alarm. In this case, maybe we're sending a notification to SNS, which would then launch maybe a text message or an email to some sort of person that was going to have to respond or deal with that problem. Now, it's important for you to know the difference between CloudWatch and CloudTrail because, in fact, they are different and they serve different purposes. CloudWatch is really designed to log events across AWS services, whereas in contrast, CloudTrail looks at just the API activity across those AWS services. So think about CloudWatch more in the operations sense and CloudTrail more in the activities sense. CloudWatch is generally a higher level, more comprehensive monitoring and eventing engine, and CloudTrail is much more low level and much more granular. Both CloudWatch and CloudTrail can log from multiple accounts. So it's very common for companies to set up an exclusive account just for aggregating their logs and give only a very few number of people access to that. That way they can maintain the integrity of those logs as kind of like a third-party account. For CloudWatch, you can store the logs indefinitely. Same thing with CloudTrail, more or less indefinitely because you store them on S3 or you can store them in CloudWatch. But the alarms in CloudWatch only last for 14 days. So if you haven't responded to an alarm within 14 days, it's going to drop off. Now, CloudTrail doesn't have any native alarming, but you can create alarms by piping those CloudTrail logs into CloudWatch and tell CloudWatch to watch for certain things and then alarm or event on certain things.